friends. My name is Vanessa Fernandez and I run the Enneagram workshop. And we are in the middle of a series on defense mechanisms and how those can show up as we try to do our inner work. Because once we get up the nerve and we get into the space to do inner work, of course, it's just got to get still a little complicated by our defense mechanism saying, wait a minute, what is happening? What's going on? I don't like this. I don't want to change. And because those defense mechanisms are subconscious, don't always notice that they're happening. So I have a few questions for you if you are a type 7 and you are doing inner work and you want to just see and dig in a little bit if those defense mechanisms are showing up for you. If you have not already seen my video on type 1, there's some context and some intro. It's just the first couple minutes. I would invite you to watch that first before diving in here, because I'm just going to go straight into type 7 and not really lay any groundwork. I think the groundwork is important, but you do whatever you like. I'm just letting you know it's there. For type 7, the defense mechanism is rationalization, which is basically a way of reframing what is happening so that it conforms to the ideal situation for a 7, which is everything's great, everything's fine, we're going to be okay, don't worry, let's go and have fun and live on that high side of life and light side of life. It's not as bad as maybe it actually was if I can reframe it and rationalize what happened. But here is the issue. Until we're able to face our shadow side, we cannot really fully enjoy the light. So a question that I have for you, 7s, is what are you attempting to, or where are you attempting to run from discomfort? And what discomfort are you running from? Is it the discomfort of hard conversations, disappointing people, facing some grief or trauma or realities that have happened in your life and shaped your life? Now, just because you recognize that you may be trying to avoid certain things or running from discomfort, that's only the first step. It's a good step, but that's only the first step. And there may need to be some somatic support, some nervous system support to even allow you to turn toward what you have now identified you are running from. And that's okay. We can take things slow and we can take things one at a time, but it's really beautiful to even start asking yourself, am I running from discomfort? Am I trying to avoid seeing things as they are because as they are feels like it may be more painful or uncomfortable than I could bear? And it's interesting because if you go back and watch the type 5 video, which I recommend you doing, I actually recommend everyone watching the 2 videos of the types that they go to in stress and security. So for type 7, that's going to be 5 and 1. If you go back to the type 5, because you may also exhibit some of those defense mechanisms as well, since those are like your buddies, your buddy numbers, the 5 will also avoid being overwhelmed by the deep, dark emotions that feel unsettling. And 5s do that by isolation rather than rationalization, but both of those defense mechanisms, actually, all of the defense mechanisms are an attempt to not be with what is here in reality as it is. Because there's a sense that maybe I can't handle it, or I don't want to handle it, or I don't know that I have the capacity to handle it. Or if I turn toward it, what if it never goes away and it becomes all that I am present to forever for the rest of my life? Now, here's the beautiful thing. 7s, you know this. You know this because you know it more than anyone else knows it. The law of 7 is the law that says we are always in constant transformation and everything is ever emerging all the time. Every breath you take, you are a different person. Every food you eat, you have transformed your entire molecular structure. Anytime you go out into the world, you are influencing the world and it is not the same and it is always changing. There is just no way that we will ever be stuck, stagnant, or trapped in any moment, emotion, or experience. It's not possible. And in fact, when we feel stuck or trapped, it is typically because we are trying artificially to hold on to an experience that we don't want to let go of. Or we're trying artificially to avoid an experience that is trying to come into our awareness. So it's actually our efforts to keep or avoid that create this feeling of stuckness, because now we've become rigid to the need to experience the world a certain way. And that's what creates that anxiety of I'm stuck. You're only stuck because you are resisting and avoiding that which is naturally asking to be present. And as soon as you allow for that to be present, it will come, you will support yourself through it, and it will pass along. And you will return to that beautiful state of allowing all that is, releasing what is ready to go, and inviting in what is new and here. That's the beautiful gift that sevens naturally embody, especially when the defense mechanisms relax a little bit. So another question I'd love to ask you is, what would it be like if you took off the rose-colored glasses just for a second? There's so much desire to reframe things in a positive light. And I kind of had the same advice for type 4s, but it was almost a little bit on the opposite side, where 4s are always interpreting everything through the lens of I'm a piece of shit and there's something wrong with me and the world is against me. 7s may interpret the world a little bit on the other side. And what I invited 4s to do is to say, what if something is happening and has nothing to do with me? What would that mean? And so type 7s, I invite you to do something similar. What if something was happening and it really was not a good thing? What would that mean? Maybe it's going to be a good thing and turn out for good, but unless we allow ourselves to go both into the shadow and the light, we're actually just attaching to a narrative that supports how we want to see ourselves and how we want to see the world, and that may not actually be what's true. And so what would it be like to ask yourself that question, to just take off the rose-colored glasses for a moment? What kind of insight might that give you? And as long as you are able to support your nervous system to be with yourself, and this is where you may want to reach out to a somatic practitioner like myself or others, but being able to be with yourself in what is truly emerging is the most exciting experience you could imagine if you can only have the courage to do so. That is the inner work that is inviting you in, 7s, and rationalization may be keeping you from. So as I mentioned in some of my other videos, I love doing this kind of deep exploratory work with type 7s, as I do with all the types. And especially whether you are a leader, a coach, a therapist, and you are doing work with others, it is so important to make sure that you are also being held accountable to your own work. And I know for me, having a skilled practitioner in my life, I meet with her weekly to guide me, to mentor me, to allow me to call me on my own bullshit, to call me on the ways that I try to make the world something other than it is so that I can feel better about who I am in the world. To have someone who can hold you through what it feels like when you take off those rose-colored glasses. That co-regulation, if you go back to the type 5 video, we talk about co-regulation and how important that is. That co-regulation is so powerful. So if you are curious about what it might be like to work with me, to explore what this kind of support could be and could allow you to do, my information is in the text beneath this video, and I would love to hear from you and work together. All right, we've got type 8s coming next. Thanks for watching.